Good evening, Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here. Hurricane Outlook and discussion time. I'm now in Orlando, Florida. After leaving the Keys yesterday, making my way up to Naples. Visited with some people that we needed to talk to that help out with a lot of things. Scoped out some locations down there for future hurricane possibilities. You never know. Always trying to get work done to help us in the future. And during all of this time, kind of glancing over and seeing what Theta has been doing, but not really digging deep into it because I didn't think much would become of it. Things have changed, and that's why I've got this big question mark on here. Our graphics producer over from the UK, Kari, put this together, and I mean, that's a big old, like, what? Some pretty drastic changes today with the finale here of Theta for Florida. So let's take a look at the latest, the headline from the National Hurricane Center, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So this is a couple of hours old now. This should update. Let's see. I will refresh this and see if they have updated it since I was putting all this stuff together. And the answer is no, they haven't. So that's fine. It'll get updated, I guess, at the 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I'm still on frickin' daylight time. At 10 p.m. Eastern, we will get a full advisory. But anyhow, the latest update, NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft is investigating Theta. Risk of flooding over South Florida and western Cuba continues. That's the headline for now. But this is what grabs my attention. Whoops. Would help if I make it a color that you can see. 989 on the pressure. Pressure, that's the lowest that it's been since leaving Central America. Obviously, it was in the 920s off the coast of Nicaragua just the few days ago, but this is the lowest that Theta has gotten to since it came across and went over and da-da-da-da-da. There it is, right? 989 on the pressure, so it's strengthening. That's what that means. Theta is now strengthening, moving north at 7 miles per hour. It's not too far off of the Florida Keys, the Dry Tortugas area, and the flow around this coming in from the south could mean a continuation of onshore flow, an occasional band of showers and heavier rain, maybe a thunderstorm. And so the flood threat, as is indicated, risk of flooding over South Florida and western Cuba continues. And why not? There's a strengthening tropical storm nearby. So this is what it looks like, all of this on the bigger picture. And I'm not going to ignore this other system out here. We have Theta, which developed in the last 24 hours to become our most recent named storm, and it is fully tropical now, meaning that it has bundled the energy. The wind is closer to the center. Up through today, it was subtropical in nature, meaning that it was more spread out. So we have 2 tropical storms on the map in November. This is November 10th. I mean, this is ridiculous, but here it is. And then we have another disturbance that's got an 80% chance of developing over the next several days, and in terms of where that goes, towards Central America, unfortunately. We will focus on this more in the coming days. I'll talk about it tomorrow on the morning update. But my biggest concern right now is for Theta, because the time of year and the area that it could be impacting. So here's the broad satellite picture. Here's Theta down here in the southeast Gulf. And it's trying to strengthen over the warm waters of the southeastern Gulf. You got the loop current sitting in here. Water temperatures are plenty warm. The upper environment, the mid-levels, so forth and so on, fairly favorable. And if we zoom in on it, you can see it's got some pretty deep convection. That's that thunderstorm activity that is bubbling up right through here. Definitely has some deeper convection. You got this outflow going on over here. Wow. I mean, it is trying to become a hurricane. It is. It's trying to intensify. And it looks like it's moving more north and east than north. Due north is 0 degrees on a compass, or 360, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's kind of deceiving. It's probably the clouds being blown off as opposed to a true northeasterly motion. I hope that's all it is. Or man, we're going to have some issues here. But this is why the Dry Tortugas out here are under a tropical storm warning. Here's Key West over here. This is where I just was. Should have left a camera down there. We went ahead and pulled them all up, and I was getting ready to head home to North Carolina, and I thought, yeah, we don't have to worry about Eta too much. I figured it was going to mill around in the Gulf here and then just kind of die off and be a non-event somewhere over the Gulf. That's what most of the global models were kind of suggesting. It's been waffling back and forth, you know, and I really wasn't too concerned about it. And I'm still not concerned in terms of a major impact event. But, as you know, if we look at the forecast from the Hurricane Center, and this is from earlier today, we do have Tropical Storm Watch posted for the west coast of Florida. And then in the discussion, the forecaster there, which was Mr. Stewart, indicated, and I'm going to show you this, that there was a substantial shift to the east today. That's all in this paragraph right here. And the most notable part was where he talks about that the shifts back to the east may be more coming up. I'm trying to find it there. So we'll just look at this last part. The current forecast track maintains Eta at least as a moderate tropical cyclone through the period, with only a slight bend back towards the northwest when the system is expected to interact with an approaching frontal system. And then it's this last part right here. The new NHC track forecast has been shifted 150 nautical miles east of the previous advisory track at days 4 and 5, and further eastward shifts in the track may be required, closer to the consensus models. So this is what came out at the 4 p.m. advisory package today. We're used to 5 p.m. because normally we do this during daylight time. So this is now several hours old. It's what, about 4 hours old? So let's just take a look real quick here. We'll go to tropicaltidbits.com. Levi's fantastic work. And this is his video discussion from last night, by the way. He embeds them on his homepage. So let's just look at the latest models here. The guidance, if it'll pop up, to so many storms. So here's the satellite view of Eta. And here's the surface plot. It's just to the northwest of the Cuban coast. There's the track map. But then look at the guidance. Look at this. There you go. The guidance is now bringing it in south of Cedar Key, generally speaking. Now, there's some guidance north of there. But if we look at the TVCA, which is right in here, I think that's it, or the TVCN, that's the consensus models. Generally speaking, it looks like Eta is going to make landfall between Tampa and Cedar Key on Thursday, and then go on out into the Atlantic. And that's what the general idea of the guidance is now suggesting. What happened? I mean, this is craziness. And then we look at the Eta GFS, and the ensemble mean is just like crazy over here. And then look at that. That's just, dude, how are you supposed to make sense out of this? Seriously, it's just unbelievable. So yeah, we're all going to have our work cut out for us trying to figure out what's up. There's the satellite presentation. It's improving. It supposedly is moving north. What's going on? I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, I'm rarely am I ever this befuddled at what we're seeing. One good thing is sea surface temperatures not going to support a hurricane unless it just starts moving fast up in this area. Water temperatures are just not going to support it. But you can still have impacts, and I need to talk to you about that at the end here. But just to point out, there's 26 Celsius. Once you get on this side of that, it's just too cold. And so Eta is sitting down here right now, the center of circulation. And let's just say it moves north and then it comes up here like that. Let's just pretend that's exactly what happens. Turn this off. Thank you. It'll cross cooler sea surface temperatures fairly far offshore, having several hours where the water temperatures are not going to support deep convection. But here's what I need for you to understand. I need you to pay, as they say, pay close attention to the words coming out of my mouth. I need for you to understand the impacts, not the wind speed or the category or the pressure. In this situation, if you have boating interests, your boat's in a marina, you have property down there, Tampa Bay, St. Pete, up to Cedar Key, Horseshoe Beach, the Big Bend area. I need you to understand, even though Eta will probably be rapidly weakening as it comes in, the wind, translational wind, it'll still be there. But the surge in this situation could be several feet high. I have no idea yet. And the Hurricane Center will be advising us about that. But that it would be weakening a lot at landfall is not the point here. It is still going to bring that storm surge because all that energy will be input into the ocean, to the Gulf, pushing into this area. So if it tracks up, let's use a different color here. If it tracks up from Cuba here and turns and makes landfall like that, then these areas south of that track, including Tampa Bay, could see several feet of surge. And I mean, we'll see. Maybe it stays intact on the way in. I don't know yet. But I want you to make sure you're ready for this and don't just dismiss it that it's November 11th, November 12th, whatever this ends up hitting, if it does, and that the sea surface temperatures are going to bail you out of all impacts. That's not necessarily the case. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm a little concerned that we could see a fairly substantial surge here of several feet in some of these areas because this part of the Gulf captures that energy coming off the Gulf in terms of storm surge efficiently. Hermine in 2016, making landfall up here near St. Mark's, brought a record surge all the way over here to Cedar Key, and Hermine was 80 miles per hour. That was granted September 1st. This is going to be November, 12th or so when it comes in? I get it. But please don't write this off as being, that's not going to do anything. Hopefully it won't. But I'm thinking that the surge here could be the big problem. And it could cause some problems, especially right at the coast, obviously. Big waves, several feet of surge potentially, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow as we learn more. So what are the global models saying? I'll just show you the GFS real quick. This is the 18Z run from today. You see that right there. And there is the signature of Eta in the model field. By the way, this is that other disturbance that's labeled as 80% chance. It's a tropical wave in there. Could develop. So let's move this out into time. Show you what's what. Big old ridge of high pressure right here. Eta anchored on the southwest side of that ridge over there. And let's see where it goes. Okay, so here we are, 12 hours out, 24 hours. So this is Wednesday afternoon. And I got to tell you, in just this reflectivity at 850 millibars, the lower 5,000 feet of the atmosphere, Eta looks very well developed for freaking November 11th. Come on. It's on that western side of the ridge. It's over, marginally conducive sea surface temperatures, not freezing, not 55 degrees, but it's not August either. I get that. And boy, thank goodness, right? But that's a healthy looking cyclone in the modeling. I know what to look for. It still looks healthy there by tomorrow night. And then it comes in and it makes landfall near Cedar Key, dies away, gets out over the Atlantic, and goes on out. Meantime, just for, continuity purposes, yes, we do have another one. This would be Iota. And then there's another piece of energy we got to watch over here. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. I mean, I am all into this hurricane thing. I've got a fascination with them. I've developed a business around them. I've studied them ever since I was a child, but I've never seen anything like this. Not the one after the other after the other. 05 was very busy, absolutely. And we had some mega hurricanes that year. Those Cat 5s, 4 of them. Remember? Sure you do. It was Katrina, Rita, and Emily was a Cat 5, I believe was the other one, and of course Wilma. And we're not seeing that this year. Thank goodness we're darn close with Laura. And I know I'm on a little bit of a tangent here, but I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. This is remarkable what we're seeing. That the Atlantic is just cranking out cyclone after cyclone when we should be winding things down. So that's day 5. let's see what happens, with this next one, which would be IOTA. IOTA. Really? Anyway, this is the H-Wharf. What is the H-Wharf? Okay, real quick. That is a special computer model that is developed for the sole purpose of forecasting tropical cyclones. It stands for Hurricane Weather Research Forecast. And it is really done well this year once you've got a system formed. I got to admit, what is the skill score? I don't know. I just know that watching these, it is done pretty well in analyzing the current situation and then forecasting what's going to happen down the road. So let's take a look at what we see with the HMON from this evening's run. And this again is 18Z, the same time period as that GFS that I showed you, but specifically for Eta down here. So 3 hours out, 21Z this afternoon, it shows 987. Not far off from where it is in reality. I showed you it's 989 from Recon. I'm assuming Recon measured that. So it's showing 985 by about right now. It's a little less, it's 4 millibars lower than reality, but whatever. Pretty good structure with it. Move on out into time, 12 hours out, it's 985 still. Then 982, 978, this is tomorrow morning. 976, 975, and then it starts to weaken, probably due to shear and dry air. But I want you to notice a couple of things that are very important. The model is trying to show us the structure. This is the simulated radar reflectivity that Levi has been able to kind of extract out from the model. And in this particular layer, it is the radar, simulated radar, and the mean sea level pressure, MSLP. So what do you see here? You know how to read radar, come on, right? Look at the weather. It's on the eastern side. The flow over here will be coming around like that. And, even farther south, this could be a problem. That stiff onshore flow, 30, 40, 45 miles per hour, yeah, that can drive some surge in there. This really could end up being like, hey, yikes, not a huge disaster, but not what we were expecting on November 12th, right? I don't think so. So it comes on in, moving forward with this. Let me get it recentered. Overnight, tomorrow night, into Thursday, it comes on up into the Big Bend. Much less organization with it, absolutely. But the surge, like I said, would already be in motion. And I think that we could see several feet of storm surge from somewhere in the Big Bend down to Tampa, St. Pete, and maybe farther south from there. It'll be very, very important to pay attention to what the National Hurricane Center says tonight, and then tomorrow morning. I suspect we're going to see some watches go up for maybe hurricane, maybe, we'll see. And a storm surge watch, I bet, is coming. And that's going to be the big story here, I do believe. The HMON, also a hurricane-specific model, very similar. And when these agree, look at that deepening there into the 970s. 977 millibars, 976. We could be looking at an 80, 85, 90 mile an hour hurricane offshore of frickin' Tampa, possibly. I mean, those pressures are low enough to warrant some concern here. And it'll drive that surge in there, and the HMON comes in, and yes, it falls apart right before landfall, but the surge doesn't just go away. It keeps going. That energy put into the Gulf keeps on going. So I'm concerned about it. I really am. I know that area well, too. I've been here, Cedar Key, for numerous events going all the way back to the year 2000. Hermine, Michael, Nestor last year. So you folks from the Big Bend down through Cedar Key, the Nature Coast, Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, all the way down to Fort Myers and even Naples where I was today, as Eta comes by, if it makes landfall up here like that, you could be looking at some problems through here with onshore flow. It's going to really, really matter where this comes in, what its structure is like, and how intact and solid that wind field is. I'm getting concerned about it for potential moderate impacts, mainly from storm surge at the coast, obviously. Heavy rain, squalls, rain, wind damage, yes, that could be a problem. But I think the surge potential here for where it's going in is what's got me most, my ears perked up the most about it, is whatever. You get me? I'm worried about it. Yeah, but I'm keeping it into perspective that it's November version of worrying about it. But that's not the same as dismissing it as, don't worry about it. So the plan is, I'm in Orlando now. Tomorrow morning, Mike Farrow, my partner from North Carolina, and we're going to be charging batteries tonight that we pulled up from South Florida. And we're going to head over to Cedar Key, set some stuff up there, probably Horseshoe Beach, and maybe go south from there into the Tampa Bay area and just see how much time we have to put these camera systems out. Hopefully our partner Brent will be coming up from Vero Beach. He's down there. We were all kind of like, okay, we're done, we're good. And, so we're kind of catching up a little bit, to be honest with you. And maybe our friend Marcel, I know I'm throwing all these names at you. We've met some really good people this year and over the years. And Marcel might be coming up. He's a geographer too. He's down in South Florida as well. Bottom line is we're going to have some good help from some awesome people. If Marcel and Brent can make it, that'll be awesome. If they can't, I get it. Mike and I will handle it. And we'll be streaming live. I'll have the YouTube running, the public YouTube, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, of course. And, of course, these cameras that we set up, those are all available through our Patreon connection with HurricaneTrack Insider. And you can find out more about that at patreon.com/HurricaneTrack, or just go to HurricaneTrack.com and click on the little banner there, that little Patreon thing. We connect it. That's how you see what we do. That's what we do with the funding. It helps to do all this. But anyway, we will be in operations mode again tomorrow. Surprise! I thought I was going home. Well, I guess I'll have to wait until Friday morning to start heading home. All right. That is it for me. I'm going to go ahead and get this posted, and we're going to get to work getting everything ready. As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I am Mark Sudduth from Orlando tonight, live tomorrow out as we get ready for Eta and this potential landfall somewhere on the west coast of Florida. Mark Sudduth, Hurricane Track. I'll talk to you tomorrow.